Some time ago in the very near past, I ran out of books to read in my own collection that were of interest to me, so I made a run to Books a Million to pick out something that would be easy to digest and just a little entertaining. And I like reading biographies, and I picked up this book called Goodbye, Christopher Robin by Anne Thwaite. It was actually made into a motion picture. Some of you may have seen it before. And this is kind of the story behind Winnie the Pooh and its author A. Milne and Christopher Robin. Now, Christopher Robin is actually A. Milne's son. And Winnie the Pooh was written back in the early 1920s. A. Milne was also a playwright and a poet, and a very successful one at that. But he's most well known for his Winnie the Pooh stories. I loved the stories of Winnie the Pooh when I was a kid. I kind of came to know who Winnie the Pooh was through Disney, as most of you probably did. And then I think we probably had a few of like the original stories somewhere around our house because I remember the pictures quite vividly by, I think his name is E.H. Shepard, who drew the illustrations for that. But this is a pretty good book. It's worth picking up. It's not a hard read. It's not even real long. But there's a couple things in this book that I wanted to share with you that have some meaning, and I wanted to make my remarks upon them. Christopher Robin, he was probably about four and a half when Winnie the Pooh was first written, and he had quite an imagination. He liked to call himself Billy Moon. No one really knows why, and he called his father Blue, and so that's kind of how he addressed him. And Milne's wife was named Daphne, and he called her Daff for short. And this little anecdote, they discovered that their son has this ability or this passion for drawing and painting. This is how it starts off. It says, in February of 1925, he produced his masterpiece, which he told his father was St. George and the Dragon. Milne wrote, "It is of the Impressionist school. Daff and I were admiring it publicly and privately indulging in a little discussion as to some of the details. Billy, meanwhile, was finishing his lunch at the other end of the table, and having finished it, said his grace to himself. This was it. Thank God for my good lunch, and let those people understand the dragon." Milne said, "How well I know his feeling." uh, you know, with any young boy's imagination, there's always a hero and a villain, and he always casts himself into the role of the hero, doesn't he? And we need that. We need that. And he kind of embodied what we all imagine, right? We play cops and robbers, good guys, bad guys, cowboys and Indians, and we have our own idea of who's good and who's bad, and we have this sense of justice. It's where we first realize it, and we're going to set things straight, and we're going to overcome the odds because they are formidable. If they weren't, they wouldn't even be worth facing. And so little Billy had his dragon, and in his prayer he said, "This is I thought was just cute." He said, "Let those people understand the dragon." You have dragons in your own life, don't you? They never go away. They always pop up. When you're a child, you devise them in your own imagination, and it's fun. It's fun to entertain them. When you get to be older, you don't have a choice. They appear out of nowhere and wreak havoc on your life. But you have a choice as to how you want to face them. Some people run, they duck, they find cover, and or they just don't assume responsibility, and it really gets dealt with. Or you can assume the role of the hero. The problem is that many of us are worried that people won't understand our dragon. That's because a lot of times they don't. Do you have dragons in your own life that people do not understand? They don't understand why you are the way you are. They don't get it. They don't. They might even minimize your dragon or tell you that theirs is bigger than yours, and that your problem is nothing compared to theirs. But the thing is, it's your dragon. It's your story, and you know what? You get to write how you get to write the story as far as how you deal with that dragon. You know, not every knight, not every knight defeats his dragon, but he gets to choose how he fights or whether he fights. And this is not the end of the story here. It goes on to say the child's passion for St. George and the Dragon determined one of his fifth birthday presents that summer, a shining suit of armor. His dad bought him a shining suit of armor because he loved the story. This is obviously an ongoing story, but it's good that his father equipped him, which is the role of and the responsibility of us fathers, isn't it? But it meant so much to Christopher. The story did that his father saw that and got him a shining suit of armor. Are you equipped? Are you dressed? Are you dressed for battle? Are you adorned in such a way that you could face the dragon? That's up to you. What do you do to do that? Well, um, you've got make sure your mind is in the right place first. You've got to be digesting good material. You've got to be reading good books, listening to good people, people that you trust, seeking out wisdom, facing responsibility, being honest with yourself. That's the only way to face it. That's the only way to defeat it. Goes on to say, he said, Milne, A. Milne says, as you know, he is very keen on dressing up, particularly as St. George versus the dragon. I was trying to teach him to catch last weekend, and he wasn't very good at it. I said, you must learn to catch, or you will never be any good at cricket. And you know, when you're 9 or 10, you'll think of nothing but cricket. And he opened his eyes very wide and said, nothing but cricket? Not armor? A dreary prospect opening up before him. Um, A. Milne was very good at cricket himself, and he played cricket with people like J.M. Barrie and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the author of Sherlock Holmes. Barrie, I think, was the author of Peter Pan, but he played cricket with them, and he was very good at it. And so he had his own ideas for Christopher, and Christopher, he was focused on his own story. He was focused on his own dragon, and sometimes you have to be single-minded in approaching your task. And our dreams are not always going to be the dreams of our children. But what I liked about Milne was that he made allowance for it and he nurtured it. In fact, it was said that little Billy would wear paper cuffs around his legs, and he was asked, "Why do you wear those?" He said, "So the dragon can't bite me. So the dragon can't bite me." You know, we all, like I said, we all have our dragons, and we need to take responsibility for them. Instead of running for cover, which may be necessary sometimes, as long as you come back out to fight, you got to know how to pick and choose your battles. But deal with it. Deal with it. Write your own story. You may not be able to determine and honestly, let's just be real here. You may not be able to determine whether you win in this battle. Because, in all honesty, we don't win every battle with every dragon. But you get to choose how you face it. And I think that's the important thing here. I think it's what we got to remember. And you're not defined as a hero by whether you win or lose. It's by how you face the battle. All right, guys. I hope that's helped. I hope this meant something to you. If you've liked it, hit the thumbs up on the down below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And if you like what I have in my beard, make sure you see the description below. All right, guys, stay safe out there. I'll catch you in the next one. Be wise.